Hello, in this video I will try to explain if you want to make a multi-blood type Lumina character just like my Saber, or use my Saber as the template and how you can do it. So this Saber actually I made it just for the template for others to use, but in the end I made her by myself. But I will explain the data structure first. So here is the files. The first thing I want to say is this folder. So this folder called the MBTL common. So inside this folder, all the files should be commonly used for all other multi-blood type Lumina character. So the design is, if you made another character, for example you made Shiki, so he also have to have this folder exactly the same. If you manage to upgrade some code inside this common file and you copy back to Saber, it should work. So this is commonly used for all multi-blood type Lumina one. So it's include, for example, heat sparks, or the dusters, or the gauges, something like that. Basically, anything is shared. Other things you can see is the variables. Is this var.txt. You can, for your reference. The next thing is which is the character by itself. So this is a native 720p character, so it uses local coordinate 720p. So this is not so commonly used in the Mugen community. So what does this mean is, for this character from the screen left, which is x position 0, to the screen right, the x position should be 1208. So it's very different from a traditional character, which is only actually is a 240p. Okay. So another difference, maybe not common, is here, the constant. So the scale value, it actually is not 1. You can see here is 1.1. I explained in the tutorial video so why I use 1.1. And here are all the things. For example, if you search constant, size, x scale or y scale, maybe not here, here, right? So for character like this, who utilize the x scale and y scale, so for every velocity, position and speed, you better multiply this constant, which is this value. So any speed, position, velocity, you multiply it by this factor and everything will be fine. So if you change this value up and down, your sprites won't be messed up, or else it definitely will be messed up. Okay, so let's explain the sprite first. So you see the sprites look like this, and the default sprite group is 0, and the default sprite index is 0. So of course you can use other palette, but the default one is this one. So it makes much easier for you to import any multi-blood type Lumina character. You just import, you don't need to apply or process the sprite. When you get those sprites from the internet, it should come with this kind of color. So you don't have to Photoshop the sprite before import, you can just import. So for this Saber, she is the most unique one because she doesn't have the sword. The sword actually is separate parts from the main sprite. So my policy is, for example, if this sprite, the group weighs 43, so the corresponding sword sprite will plus 10,000. Okay, and you don't need a 10,000. Other character doesn't work like this, so you don't need to care about this. So you can just delete all the sprites of the character and import your own. The next thing is the effect. So about those effects, the effect start from group 6000. Okay, for group 6000 are all the special effects for the current character, which is here is for Saber. So you don't need it. You can just delete all those 6000 group special effect and import your own. For 7000 group, it's the special effect which is shared among all the multi-blood characters. So let's see if I have 7000. No, don't have. You see, those are the effect of landing dust, running dust, or dash particles, blah blah blah. Or auras, this is a charging aura, a part of the charging aura actually. And those are shared sprites. And for group 8000 are the gauge sprites, which is the heat gauge, the moon gauge. All those gauges menus will be here. So this is the main structure of the sprites. Those above 10,000 or 20,000, you don't need it, just delete it. And for the portrait, so I will explain the portrait. So for portrait, this is default, every Mugen character will have, but this is a 720p character, so the small portrait actually is HD, so it's 100 by 100. But if you are using a traditional one, maybe it's only 25 by 25. So this is the big portrait. It's 480 by 560. So if it's normal one, it will be very small. And this is the waning portrait. And this is the heat activation portrait. So one thing is, you see her eye is brighter than other parts actually. So maybe the sprites you got is all bright, but you can import into Photoshop and make only eyes pop up. So this is a Photoshop skill you have to do. I think the original game is using this kind of style. And this one is the, oh no, I think this one is for launcher. So when you use your launcher, hit your target and this one will pop out. And this is the which is the moon drive activation, the offender or the activator, which is the upper part is bigger and the lower part is small. And this is moon drive activation, the defender side. So lower part is bigger and upper part is small. And this one is for I think it's for When you lost your match once, you unlock the level 4 power. So you will have 4 power bars in the original game, and this portrait will pop out. Yeah, you can just replace it with your current one and it should work. And this is for EX move, I think. Just delete it and replace your character's one. So enough for the sprites. I think the only thing I need to mention about sprites are is this one. This one. So basically you just use your Photoshop to rotate the picture. So I believe second is animation. So animation is nothing special compared to other Mugen character. The only special one is a get hit animation. I think is this one. So you can lay down on the ground by two positions. One is facing up, one is facing down, and this is get up from facing up. And +5 is get up from facing down. And other thing like this is laying down facing up. This is the facing down. +5. So I already fixed the code in common.cns. So here it can automatically handle those facing up and facing down. Here is some other special animation that is required. For example, this one, throw escape. That means this is the attacker side. Attacker side, it's a blocking animation. And this is the defender side. This is the defender side. And others like this one. This one is for Midnight Blast, and this one is for Nakaris. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I will show you. Basically, she became a chibi character and walk around and jump over. And another one is the special sprites or special animation, which is this number for Power CL. I think nobody made a Power CL yet, but I already reserved the animation here. So I hope somebody maybe will make a Power CL later. So this is for her last arc. So for the files, nothing special. Nothing special. The only thing I want to say is you can use the helpers inside this MBTL helpers. This is a commonly shared helper across all the multiple type Lumina character. It's designed to be shared. So one mandatory animation you need to have is this one. You need to create a empty animation where group is -1, index is -1, and time is -1. Okay. So for example, it have shield helper, heat blast projectile, landing dust, air jump burst, blah blah blah. all these things are commonly shared by the character which can be made based on this template. So the helper are designed to be used in general. What does it mean? For example, the shield. So this is a shield state, which is 700. I can share the state is like this. So the shared helper should be here. Okay. So you don't need to say display a explore to show the spinning wheel, something like that. You can just call the helper. So you say call this helper and name is shield helper, and this helper can take in arguments or parameters just like a function in the programming language. So here is those argument or parameters. Maybe it says size head ports. No, it's nothing to do with size head ports. Actually it's the bind xy variable number. Okay, so this is x number and this is y number, and this is the tilted angle number, something like that. So you can for example, I take in this is state is 7470. So here I search 7470. So it will say bind to parents, right? So it will use your argument as x and y to bind. So basically here. So you can use these as an example. So when the helper is called, and check the examples of this saber. So these are those arguments. For example, there's some other arguments. Like the zoom. Let's see, zoom. And you can see you can have multiple arguments actually. This is the clash helper. There's many clash helper. So this is a zoom helper. So this is just a workaround to take argument. So this is your ID, this is how much you want to move to a target, or moving time, or zoom out time, zoom in time, something like that, blah blah blah, and then you can experiment with that. But you don't need to change anything here. Other than that, I think anything is standard and normal, so I don't need to say anything more. The monitor.st is a helper aimed for helping the AI to determine the enemy states. Okay, so if you don't want AI, then just ignore this file. Okay, let's move to sound. So the sound, I suggest you keep the structure of group 0, 1, 2, but not 4. 4 are all those voices. So you can delete all the voices and then replace your character's voice. And the index number, so why the index number is this one, not that one. So when you download those voice, when you download all those voice sound battle, You see it start from here. So this number actually is this number. So you try to name your sound or wave, so you put into group 4 and import that matching those numbers, then that will be very easy to navigate, because every character, the number are similar. So this number may be a waning voice, or this number may be a intro voice, something like that. So it will save you a lot of time to find which number is which voice. Okay, another thing I want to show you is how you can add a Moon Drive activation for the defender side for your character. Even she or he is not a multi-blood type Lumina character. So I will do a demonstration. So here is player 1, here is player 2. So when the player 1 activates Moon Drive, it's B and C. And you saw those portraits. Right, you saw those portraits. And not necessarily everyone have it. But actually I made a universal code you can copy and paste into a character. So for example, not only HD character can have, so this is another example. So this is Shirai Kuroko. She is a Denki Kibanku character, and she has nothing to do with type Lumina Moon Drive, but she can have the portrait. And I will show you how you can add it. For example, I want to add for this Ako or Oko, I don't know. So this Oko doesn't have the defender side portrait, but she can have it very easily by just copy and paste my code. And let me show you. So the first thing we need to know the defender side portrait. The animation is 9994, and this is, I say, defender side or passive side, and 993 is the active side, which is the attacker side. So Moon Drive passive, and this is the defender side. So I copied them here, and next is MBTL helpers. So we search 994 and it's here. It's called Moon Drive passive portrait. We just copy all the code. Okay, done. Copy and paste somewhere else. And this is the code. This is the actual helper, but the activation code is here. So it will be in -2 or 3. So you just search 994. And here is it. So I put into -2 states. So you just copy here, and I put here. Okay, with all the things here, and remember the defender side is the upper part is small, the lower part is bigger, and the offender side is upper part bigger and the lower part smaller. So let's go to Ransom and going to his Google Drive, and let's find out the outcodes. Where could it be? Sprite art effect, stage power let UI sound, maybe effect. Cut in outcode. Yeah, it's here. So basically, the Moon drive is here. So click this file and download. So it's downloaded. You open your Photoshop and take out this picture and make sure the line is aligned. Okay, after Photoshop, we got two files. And this is the Defender side. Bottom is bigger and the upper is smaller. And this is the Offender side. Upper is bigger and the bottom is smaller. So basically we want import these sprites into that arco maybe. So use this sprite group and create an animation of 9994 and make sure here the point is at the center. Okay, here she is, and let's put behind and 9001 and let's put behind it. So we will put in 994. Open in the middle. The group is 9000. The index is 994. Okay. And this is a full color picture, so there's no palette information. And don't have to be very specific, but you just make sure this one is around the middle. So the height of the picture is 800 something, so in the middle is 400 something. Or maybe you can a little bit lower. Okay, I think it's good enough. Let's save and let's create an animation. I don't know whether she have this animation or not. No, she don't. Okay, let's put behind 9011. So we put the animation here, 9994, and we copy this information and overwrite. Save. Okay, this is it. So it have to be flipped. Here, -2. So we put the code, the activation code here. As long as we put in the -2, I think is okay. So we put below, maybe the last one, and to the bottom. Let's save. And does it have helpers? Helpers global, yes, here helpers global sounds like my common. Maybe I put in between here. So I copy my states into these global helpers and save. Okay, so maybe it can work now. So I activate my moon drive. Something happened. I think it's because she doesn't have this empty animation. So let's create an empty animation, which is 9741. 9741. Okay, let's call this animation empty, and the group and the index is all -1. So let me activate my moon drive. Now it has if I switch side, the side is correct. At the correct side. So actually this code is universal. It's actually can work on traditional low D character, not just HD. Can work on low definition character too. And this Mugen is normal 240p. Okay. Let me activate my moon drive. Still working. Still working. So as long as you keep the image size similar to the multi-bullet one, so this code should be universal. Okay, other than that, I think that's enough, and hope someone will use Saber as template and make another multi-bullet type Lumina character.